Welcome back to another episode of the NRI Cricketer. I am Sumit Joseph, and this is Vinay Joseph, the left arm spinner, the right hand batter. And we're back for another episode. Episode 5, I believe, is what we're up to. So, plugging along. How you been, Vinay?
Good. Just enjoying the initial stages of the World Cup.
Yeah, very excited. We'll just jump into it. Actually, the start of the World Cup has got us, very excited, and it seems like we're the only ones that were actually very excited with that opening match. What was going on with the crowd there at Narendra Modi Stadium?
Well, initially it was. You've probably seen some of the photos on social media. It was quite empty.
Yeah, it was an odd visual. Like, this is like, I don't know. Usually World Cup, it comes around once every 4 years. It's special. We saw in England, we saw in Australia. It's usually a big crowd turns up for the opening match. And we saw, like, at the start of the match, it was just there was no one there. No one turned up.
Yeah, look, there's probably a few things to factor in. Like, one, it was a working day, and two, it's in India, so everything opens quite late in India. So, by, I think, halfway, they said that there was about 47 to 50,000 people.
Bullshit.
It's a bit hard to tell, actually, because it's a very large stadium. I think 134,000 people.
Bullshit. It's just it's quite an odd visual.
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone's surprised. Like, if I'm being quite honest, I don't know, like, what the big hullabaloo is. Like, well, I mean, obviously, when you sell tickets a month out, doesn't really give chance for, like we were saying, where was the Barmy Army, right? It was England versus New Zealand. Where was the Barmy Army? I'll tell you where the Barmy Army was. They're at home. You can't plan a ticket. You can't plan your trip to India in a month.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen. Like, your World Cup, you want to go for the whole World Cup, and you have to try plan it because the BCCI and the ICC wants to sell tickets a month out. That's just ridiculous. It's stupid planning.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
And, like, even when they did release the tickets, it was a really weird system. Like, you buy them online, then you have to go somewhere,
collect it in person.
Oh,
come on! What is this bullshit?
Through certain collection points. I've experienced that when I went to the IPL actually once.
Yeah,
it was that same way. You purchase it online, you go to a collection point, you like no idea where it is, like a random spot. And the game, by that time, the game's already started, and you're like struggling to get inside the stadium. So
this is where I think we fail sometimes. Like, come on, it's a world event. Yeah, cricket is one of the biggest sports in the world, and this is the premier tournament of cricket. Like, and for it to be as haphazardly organized as it is right now, it's disappointing because there should be packed crowds, right? Mm-hmm. And like it's. To see, obviously Narendra Modi Stadium is 134,000, and they bragged online that there was 50,000 people that turned up. My ass, there was 50,000 people that turned up. Well, it looked like 20,000, if I'm being quite honest. It's a big stadium.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, the bigger the stadium it looks, it might look more empty, even with 50,000. But, I mean, Shah had to literally fill the seat himself. Because he was there in the crowd, like, just with random people.
We'll get onto that in a bit. But Shah was there as well, so that was interesting. But it's just disappointing because, like, it deserves more. Like, we can't be living in this age where the biggest cricket board in the world, they can't organize a world event. And I've personally now just been trying to get, like, the India jersey as well, which has been complete hell. There's nowhere to get it from properly. Like, apparently there's 3 versions of it as well.
And I believe they don't sell the World Cup version.
They won't sell I've talked to the actual distributor. He's saying, the BCCI won't sell it for some reason. Every other board around the world sells their World Cup jersey. But for some reason, India won't sell the tri-striped one for some reason.
Well, I remember the T20 World Cup here in Australia.
Same thing, yeah.
You could get other jerseys, but you just couldn't get the Indian jersey for some reason. Even at the game, while you're at the ground.
Yeah.
The staff were just like, we don't know.
This is where we fail. This is what, like the actual experience of being an Indian fan it's got to be better than it is right now. We're not doing good. Especially an overseas Indian fan, right?
Yeah.
You might be able to get the jersey, whatever, in Adidas stores all over the country in India, but mate, for us overseas, we're just trying to get some sort of way to get it. And
the most disappointing thing is the World Cup specific jersey, because that becomes like a collectible item.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like later on, you keep it at home. You remember if India wins the World Cup, you remember that jersey. Like it'll be a special sort of thing, and they don't sell it, unfortunately.
Yeah, but getting back to the match, England and New Zealand. We'll talk about the match. England got walloped, but there was one person that shined, and that was Rachin Ravindra, mate. Brown boy is really doing well.
Yeah, I had no idea about this guy. I had no hopes that he would actually. I thought they would struggle because I believe Kane Richardson was out as well.
Yeah.
And then you got Conway opening, but then I thought, who's this
young kid?
Yeah, Rachin. I was like, Rachin. That's a very odd sort of name as well.
That's different as well. We learned about his name that it's actually his parents are big fans of Sachin and Rahul Dravid, and they've combined the names and they've called him Rachin. So
I mean, he scored a century.
Yeah.
Him and Conway.
It's a big statement. I mean, already after that century, we started hearing murmurs that he's going to get a big price at the IPL auction.
And this is after England were England batted first, and they put up a pretty good total. Like they reckon they were about 50 short still.
Maybe they got spooked by the ghosts around the stadium. there was no one there, so they'll be like, "What's going on here? We're at the right place."
It's like when they hit the ball, they can hear the echo of the ball hitting the bat.
Yeah, and it was too loud. It must have really gone to their ears.
But yeah, then New Zealand got in, and they only lost one wicket. New Zealand.
It's a big statement, right? New Zealand were the finalists last time, heartbreakingly losing in that crazy match, but.
Do you reckon there was a bit more fire in New Zealand because of that?
Oh, they looked pumped up. They looked like the past two World Cup finals, because they were in the past two World Cup finals. Strong team. They look a bit pissed. They want to win this.
And the way England won the previous one.
Yeah, it's a bit.
There's a bit of fire in New
Zealand. It was a great match. I love that match. But ultimately, it just still ended up being a draw, right? And it all went down to calculations and runs scored and all that sort of stuff, which is unfortunate. But, New Zealand looks strong, and, man, they really put out a statement there with that 9-wicket win. They're here to win this.
I saw a meme. It was something about like New Zealand, in like just general cricket throughout the year, like just like a bit average, here and there. Yeah. But when it comes to ICC tournaments, New Zealand,
they're the opposite of South Africa. They turn up.
You see some bowling attack that you've never seen in New Zealand before.
Yeah.
Throughout the year. But then in ICC tournaments, you got Trent Bolt available. You got Lockie Ferguson available. They got all these crazy players. Like they all come back for this tournament. And then collectively, they make a very strong unit.
Quality side. But yeah, it was an odd start. I mean, obviously the next day we had Pakistan and Netherlands, and that was a bit dicey there for Pakistan, but they got through in the end. But even there, the crowd was okay-ish. So far, it's been okay. And I'm suspecting like every non-Indian game is going to be like that. Frankly, and just because of the fact that it just feels like it's haphazardly organized, and there's no way for overseas fans to sort of really plan and come here, and that includes us. We really wanted to be there, but I mean, if you can't really have your fixtures out at least a year out, which is what every other country does, then it's hard to really plan to go there. But it's unfortunate, but we'll move on. So next subject, Shah. Have we got him wrong? We really ragged on him about the whole, going through with the Asia Cup venues and all that sort of stuff. Actually, was a masterstroke by him. He had the vision to really, go. Actually, I'm sticking with this. I really believe in the Sri Lankan ground staff, and he was right. They really did a great job. So, have we got it wrong? I mean, we saw him, as I said, sitting in amongst the crowd, at Narendra Modi Stadium, looking kind of pissed off a bit about the crowd, the lack of crowd. But also, I think we saw the video. He kind of looked like he was about to, do the old, nose peek, and he just, I think he saw himself on camera and on the TV, and he must have just he turned it into something else or something like that. But what do you like? Have we got it wrong? Is he the world's greatest executive, and we're just not with it?
He's the Darth Vader of the dark side. I still don't believe he's like you're saying. We've got him wrong. I think we've got him right. You can see the look on his face. This man is evil.
He's a man of the people, though. Did you see him sitting?
Yeah, he was sitting with the people. He was in the crowd, randomly. Usually he's in the VIP stands.
Yeah, man, he's VIP. He's got caviar and all that crap.
But you know what the issue I think would have been? I don't think the VIPs even turned up, right? So he would have been sitting there alone. So he literally
probably got bored. He's like, well, I can't talk to myself. And then you see him going out to the crowd, and it's some annoying kids in front of him as well. I think he was regretting going out to the crowd actually after that.
I think the two sitting behind him were probably his security guards.
Oh yeah, that definitely is. But we saw that, and then we saw. I saw another video it went viral of him someone bowling pretty shittily to him, but he's timing the ball well actually. He's actually better than. Remember, we saw John Howard trying to play cricket. Remember that? That was fucking. What the hell was that? He's actually. He was timing it well. What do you think of that?
I think it was probably one of his security guards chucking the ball to him.
I would hope it is one of the security guards.
Look, he's doing the right things, right? But he just got to smile. That guy doesn't smile. You never see him actually smile, right? Even when he was playing those cricket shots and he's trying to, get involved with the community, he's still got that stern look on his face.
I think we got him wrong. I think there is some sort of personality there. Someone that likes cricket. Maybe someone that likes this channel as well, probably.
I mean, he could just be stressed, right? It's a pretty stressful role.
A big job, yes. I mean,
and now he's relaxing a bit because it started. Finally, the World Cup has started.
Yeah, I think he's in charge of the ticket scenario. So maybe he was double thinking. Maybe I shouldn't have left this too late.
And interesting story also coming out of the ticketing situation, because there was something someone posted. This is probably unconfirmed, but it's interesting reading because they were giving tickets out as well, and apparently there was a few people that they told. I think they were ladies. They told them that it's actually an India versus Pakistan match happening inside.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, "Whoa, India, Pakistan!" And they went inside. It was New Zealand.
They went inside and they're like, "Oh, mate, these players kind of look like they used a lot of Fair and Lovely. What's going on? And why is one of the t-shirts black and one of them's obviously a darker blue?" And
they were tricked.
And Jay Shah was just like, "Oh no, these are the alternate uniforms that we got from them."
What they meant was India Pakistan's coming up in that stadium.
Yes, in a week, but you can sit here and watch England versus New Zealand. But yeah, I mean, Jay Shah. I mean, we'll have to see. Is he a top bloke? I don't know. Maybe he could be. I don't know, but
we'll see.
He's definitely got some vision. That Asia Cup stuff. We were wrong on that. He was right.
Well, if India win the World Cup, they just won the Asia Cup, and they're probably going to win the Asian Games that are happening right now. After the World Cup, he would definitely be a top bloke.
Oh, wait. Jay Shah, we love you. Friend of the show. But yeah, we'll move on. So the Pakistan... Okay, so obviously, they had their match with Netherlands, and they had a couple of warm-up matches as well, in which they got thrashed by Australia. But still,
it was close.
Was it? I forgot already. It was the warm-up matches.
It was pretty close.
But Shadab Khan was like, we blame it on the biryani. Really, that's what he was saying.
See, I don't appreciate you telling me to shut up on the
okay. That joke is never gonna die. But Shadab Khan, he was. I mean, the Pakistanis, obviously they must have come to India a little bit hesitant of the current climate and everything, but they have got a welcome like I haven't seen any other team get really in the World Cup. Firstly off at the airport, I mean everyone was waiting for them. There is a big Pakistan contingent of fans in India, and and they were waiting for him, and they had this great welcome. Everyone was lining up to meet them, and we saw, I think, I don't know why, but somehow Barbara's arm got left behind or something, and someone flew a private jet to get him to whatever Ahmedabad. It was great scenes, really. Actually, what do you think?
To be honest, I feel like the other teams also got a similar welcome. Maybe not at the airport, but I think I did watch New Zealand get a really grand welcome as well. I feel like the other teams did get a grand welcome, but because it's Pakistan, coming to India, I believe the media is like sort of focusing all on that. Yeah. Like I feel like, they would. I mean, the welcomes they're getting, there's not just all of a sudden the hotels are just very nice people. I feel like it's been set up right by the BCCI and probably Jay Shah, the top bloke, for the hotels to welcome them, and to make them feel very, welcome in the hotel where they'll be staying. Like,
but I think it's a little bit extra for the Pakistanis because they're loving it, right? Because like they're eating all the Hyderabadi biryani and they're really getting into it. They're loving India.
Chicken, fish.
Yeah,
I love it. It's great.
But it's good for them, I guess. They haven't been to India in about 12 years, I think. And this is, I guess, the first trip for a lot of these young players. So it's good that and I saw the other day, I think Shane Afridi was helping out like a net bowler as well, a young Indian net bowler, and like sort of teaching him some stuff. So it's good to see at the end of the day, right? That's what you want.
And that's what you want to see. Like, you don't want to see Pakistan play the World Cup nervous or, they're worried about security. They're worried about, how they're going to get treated, etc. You want to play Pakistan. You want to see Pakistan play full-blooded, like
at their best, really.
Yeah, their best.
That's how we want to play them. We don't really want Pakistan, and like it is unfortunate that Naseem Shah's out of the World Cup.
That would have been a great spectacle to see that bowling lineup,
because that was really good to see in the Asia Cup, the fight against our batters against their bowlers. But still, they've got what's his name? Hassan
Ali.
Hassan Ali, yes. He's pretty good as well. So it'll be interesting. Actually, we'll just go back a bit to the first subject. There was one thing I wanted to talk about, actually, with all the hullabaloo of the stadium being empty and all that sort of stuff. It actually turned to something bigger online, really.
Yeah.
Firstly, we had a lot of the Pakistani fans using this as like, sucked in, no one's there. Like as like payback for, I think during the start of the Asia Cup, no one was in Multan, I think, and now they're sort of using this as like a sort of trolling something. And then we saw Irfan Pathan sort of bite back as well and go, well, there was 47,000 people there. So, but what do you think of that?
Look, social media will always blow things up like out of proportion. Of course, like I said earlier, like there might not have been that many people in the beginning of the match.
Yeah.
But by halfway, the innings break, people would have started to sort of trickle through.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be the organising, how they've organised the tickets, how they're sort of working the security and entry into the ground. But also, I think a big part plays into it that it was a working day. People were finishing work and then probably coming to the game. After that, so
it was hot as well. That's what I was told.
Yeah,
it's a hot day there. Hopefully.
And to be honest, it's not featuring like India or really any of the Asian teams as well. So it was always going to be a bit iffy, like as to the crowd turn up. I feel in Asia, especially.
Yeah, they don't like the Gore, don't they? They're not really.
Well, I mean,
the Gore versus the Gore, I think.
Even Australia knew in the T20 World Cup, to start the tournament pretty much with India-Pakistan.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine if the India-Pakistan was the first game.
That was the opening weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the opening weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Imagine the first game was India versus Pakistan.
That would have been nuts.
That would have been crazy, sold out.
Crazy way. But I think that there is a tradition to start it off with the final of the previous World Cup.
Rematch.
The rematch to start it off. But, I mean, the online Irfan Pathan going back and forth with fans. I mean...
I love it.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it adds to the drama of it, right?
I actually haven't heard from Shah Bakhtar recently. He usually makes some comments. Shah Bakhtar,
yeah. Shoaib. But and then we saw the backlash of it, like with a lot of Indian fans going like, going back at like. I think they're both stupid. Like at the end of the day, I just still think it's really not well organized, and didn't look good, but to use it as an attack is even dumb. But I mean, whatever.
And it's early days, I guess. Hopefully, the crowds start flourishing in, and
Yeah, well, in the Australia game is what we're hoping. Like, obviously, there'll be a big sort of looking crowd. It'll start to feel like a World Cup. At the moment, it's still feeling like the warm-ups, which is a bit disappointing for the first 3 days, I guess, of this World Cup.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on. So, and we'll just move on to the match, I guess. The match on the first match for India versus Australia. Now, we'll preview this match, and so it's obviously a massive, one of the biggest games of the World Cup, and it's going to be, I guess, we've been up and down against Australia. We won 2, but we lost 1 as well in that series before, and it's just going to be about who performs on the day, I guess. But
yeah,
what do you think? Who's your squad that you got? Because we've just got news that, I mean, Shubman Gill might not make it there. He's got dengue fever.
Yeah.
Out of the dengues.
Yeah, and from the Australian side, apparently Marcus Stoinis is under a bit of an injury cloud as well. So, but although with Stoinis, I think if you've got Maxwell in there, I don't know if you'll have Stoinis in there anyway.
And I think on spinning pitches, you'd probably want to play Maxi.
Yeah. And Maxi, of course, Maxwell starts hitting form, just before the World Cup, like against India as well. So,
of course.
yeah, look, it's going to be an interesting squad. I think we've spoken about this in previous videos as well. India pretty much set now with who they're going to pick.
What is your squad, though? Well, obviously, taking into account that Shubi might not play. So
we'll start with Rohit Sharma opening.
Yeah, Rohit and Ishan is what they're saying.
Kishan will probably open with him, yeah. Of course, you got Virat Kohli.
I think Shreyas Iyer might come, and then Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
So Shreyas at 3, Virat at 4. Then we have, I believe, KL Rahul, I think, is coming at 5. And then it starts with Hardik Pandya and Ravindra Jadeja. And then after that, we've got... It's Kuldeep was what I'm thinking. I mean, I don't think they're going to go for Ashwin, but it'll be Kuldeep, and then I think it should be 3 fast bowlers: Siraj, Bumrah, and Shami. But would you play Ashwin in this?
To be honest,
spinner, instead of Shami.
To be honest, I probably wouldn't. Because it is Australia, and I feel like Ashwin, how good of a player he is, he hasn't been able to crack or get into the minds of the Australian cricket team. I feel like Australia play him pretty well. They've worked him out. Yeah. Kuldeep Yadav, I think he's got that surprise factor, and he does turn it quite a lot. So
especially recently, right, with Kuldeep, what he's developed lately, with the pace he's added to it, it could be something that really is a surprise factor for the Aussies. Yeah. I mean, he did play in, I think, one of the matches, but it still could be something of a surprise, I guess, the way he bowls on a really good pitch.
Someone also mentioned, would you really play... Because in one of the matches, they did play, I think, Shami, Bumrah, and Siraj.
Yeah.
And they were a bit expensive.
Yeah.
Could the option of Shardul Thakur be in there as well?
I mean, yeah, he does provide that batting sort of option, but the thing is, Shami is in very good form.
But so is Siraj.
Well, that's the thing, right? I still believe that they're starting with Bumrah and Siraj, and then I believe it would be Bumrah, Siraj, and Pandya as your 3 paces, but it'd be very hard to drop Shami from this squad. That's my thinking, and I think. If we're going in with attacking, we should go in with the best bowlers, and Shami is one of our best bowlers at the moment. I'd play him over an Ashwin who hasn't really been in the team for a long time and only started to come back into the team a week ago.
Yeah.
So I'd bowl the informed bowler, and that's Shami.
Yeah. Now, in terms of, I'm going to ask you a question. In terms of, I guess, the X Factor player.
Yeah.
Who would you say is the X Factor player from both teams? Who is that one player who can turn the match for both teams?
For me, and it pains me to say this, but Mitch Marsh for Australia. I'm not that great. I wasn't a great fan of Mitch Marsh until he turned it around and absolutely spanked the living daylights out of everyone in world cricket this year. So Mitch Marsh could actually be like I've seen him hit the ball like ruthlessly, really at times, especially in conditions like that suit batting, which a lot of Indian pitches do. We haven't heard much about the pitch that's going to be there, but I'm guessing from Chennai it's going to be a turner, right? And it most likely would be flat. So, because it's an ICC pitch, so they normally like to be flat pitches. But he could be very dangerous. But at the end, like people like Warner and Smith, I mean, they're due, right?
And Warner is sort of hitting a little bit of form, I feel, as well. Compared to how bad he was playing before, he's actually scoring a few runs.
Don't count them out as well. They're due for something big. And I would shudder to think what Steve Smith would do if he gets on a roll, because it could be really big.
And what about from India? Who would you say is your X Factor player?
If he plays, Shubi, to me, he's in a purple patch in his career, but he's just hitting the ball in a way I haven't seen a player hit for a very long time. So cleanly hitting the ball, there doesn't seem to be any problem. Like, it's just technique-wise, he's there. The only problem now is going to be this dengue fever that he has, if he can get over it in time. But it's just, if he plays, then it's going to be, he's playing very well. He is definitely going to be, one of the young guns. But another one, I think that for me, I mean, I've hammered on about him, but to me, like you win World Cups by getting 10 wickets, right? To me, it's Kuldeep. On these pitches as well is going to help him. But to me, he's one of the best bowlers, one of the best spinners in the world for me in world cricket. So to me, he can make a big difference. But he's got to be on ball, man. He's really got to be accurate and got to really take that sort of control over the game.
Yeah, for me, I reckon Australia's X Factor player, I'd have to say, is Glenn Maxwell.
Oh, yes.
We haven't seen a lot of him because he's been in and out of the team. He's been injured. But from what I've seen from him, he's batting, he's still hitting the ball pretty well, and he's bowling like he's that extra spinner bowler.
His bowling is going to be
crucial
for Australia in this World Cup.
And we saw in the practice, it wasn't really practice, but the
third ODI,
yeah, like he played really well against India in the series before this, right?
Yeah.
My X Factor player for India, I have to say, is Pandya.
Oh,
Hardik Pandya, because he did not actually play in the practice matches, I believe.
Yeah.
And prior to that, in the Asian Games, he would come on and bowl really well. Like he was getting it to move and but he was getting it to move and seam, and picking up like the crucial wicket, like the breakthrough wicket that they need.
Well, that's the thing, right? If we are to bowl, the second full-time spinner, Pandya as a third seamer would be very crucial, right? A lot of teams would try to look at where to hit. If he doesn't bowl well, it could turn the match.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, and Pandya has been hitting it really well as well. Yeah. Like when he gets on song with his batting, like he hits it as clean as a whistle, and it goes sailing. Like he's my X Factor player in this match for India.
And also with Pandya, the hitting's great, right? But like to me, I was really impressed with the way he played against Pakistan in the Asia Cup, where. He's been doing this for a couple of years where, we were like fourth or something, right? And then him and Ishan really built an innings and really got us back into a really good position. But it's just, he's playing that role of like Dhoni used to play, right? In the middle order. If we really get into some trouble, he's being very reliable lately to get us out of that trouble. And that's what we want to see from Pandya, and I think for the longest while, he's been a hitter, but now he's someone that's become a bit more reliable.
Yeah, and also just want to mention Australia versus India clashes. They are really usually pretty good matches.
Yeah.
Lately, or not lately, for quite a while, Australia has had the stick over India in ICC tournament matches. Especially when it comes to crunch games. This isn't really a crunch game because it's the first game. But I just, whenever India would get to a semi-final or a final, Australia would be in their way, and it's just hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, that was yeah. I mean, we all remember 03, right?
Yeah, and it's 2015 as well.
Yeah, 2015.
I think India were almost undefeated throughout the whole thing until they met Australia in the finals. Yeah.
The semi. We went to that game. It was pretty heartbreaking. Yeah, I mean, us against them in World Cups, it's they're always tense matches. Like for us at least, watching them. Sometimes some people would say even more, like there's more rivalry between Australia and than there is with Pakistan. I mean, we've definitely had some close games and really like tensions that have flared as well. But
Well, on that as well, I feel like the intensity level has gone down a notch as well.
Yeah.
Especially because Virat Kohli's intensity as a whole has gone down a level.
Yeah. He really drives it, doesn't he?
Yeah, and they're a bit more friendly now, I feel. So that intensity level has gone down a notch a bit, but the quality of cricket has stayed the same, if not even better. So, look, it's going to be a great match either way. But yeah, look, I think that depending on the weather conditions as well, like...
Well, look at now. It's just saying Chennai is excessive heat. So,
well, there you go.
Nice stuff there. So 33 degrees, excessive heat. It might be very humid.
So win the toss and bat first.
Yeah. Actually, no. I've heard this other theory that you should actually be batting at night in India at these times. That's what the New Zealand we saw did really well, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, being out in the heat is very tough in your fielding, but like the ball comes onto the bat really well at night, and the dew maybe starting to come in around November, so maybe the later games might be affected. But it's something to maybe think about. Really, do we bowl first?
Yeah, I think look, a lot's going to depend on the pitch. I think when they get there and they see what type of pitch it is. Dry, flat,
Chennai usually is one that turns,
Yeah.
right? It usually is a turner and it's flat.
You'd be tempted to bat first.
You would be tempted, right? But you just have to look at what New Zealand did the other night and be like, is there any point in batting first, really?
And batting first is so nerve-wracking with Rohit Sharma at the top. Like, I just get so nervous when I see India's going to bat first and Rohit Sharma comes out to open. Oh, it's just so nerve-wracking.
We can't keep ragging on him. He's done well the last ever since we started ragging on him.
Yeah.
He's done well, actually. But, sometimes Rohit Sharma does look stupid on a flat pitch. I mean, it happens to anyone. But hopefully he'll do well. I mean, we all want him to do, as a captain, to do well and score runs. He's in a crucial position. He's an opener.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. So... I mean, that is the preview, I guess, for that. So we'll move on. Cricket 24 came out. Well, did you see this? Cricket 24, the video game?
Yeah, I heard about it. It was marketed like the day or two before.
Oh, man. Big Ant Studios.
Yeah.
What is going on?
I think I know why. It's pretty much Cricket 22 upgraded, right?
Oh, come on. Don't be that harsh, man. What the hell? No, it's... we both got it, massive video game cricket fan, and I've gotten every single cricket video game since Super International Cricket on the SNES. So I'm a bit of a fanatic in that sense. But
I purchased it because of this guy. So
yeah, mainly
I haven't played it yet.
Mainly because I've been like shouting to go get it.
Yeah.
But look, maybe there's a lot of things under the hood that have been changed that the casual fan and maybe you might not realize. So the gameplay of it, I can definitely see that's changed. The graphics have gotten a slight upgrade, not a lot. I mean, there's grass on the actual grass. There's not a flat texture anymore. It actually looks like grass, which is cool. And the players have a little bit more detail in them. I mean, obviously, we must talk about the licenses.
That's one thing that sort of drew me to it as well, because they've got a lot more licensing of teams, of players, and also of like pads and bats as well. So.
Yeah, and this is because they Big Ant Studios got bought out by this bigger publisher called Nacon, which is a big European publisher, got a lot of money. I mean, they probably got a lot of money to buy some of these licenses from IPL teams. A lot of our teams like Pakistan and PSL and all sort of stuff. So it's getting more licenses. It's not relying on you to download stuff, even though the downloadable stuff has looked pretty good. I gotta say, like I downloaded India straight away, the Indian team, which has not licensed, but I downloaded it.
That's just that Indian team needs to be licensed. But
we've seen how BCCI treat marketing. They don't give a shit.
Jay Shah probably said, "I'm busy at the moment."
I'm busy. I gotta practice batting against some person that's rolling the ball to me. And it's just. I mean, like I like the game. To me, I like. There's a lot of under the hood changes that I like that I can see. Batting is a bit more like the way you have to bat. It's a bit more realistic. I'm playing in career mode at the moment, so it might get easy like it was before. But currently, I'm at state level playing for Punjab, and I'm doing pretty well. So
the good thing about this game or these cricket games, I find, is even though they don't get the license, they sneakily put through the characteristics in the creator player mode. So you can create like exact likeness.
Yeah, there's some of the Murli action. There's some of the Harbhajan spinning action. Yeah. There's obviously a Warney one there as well, I guess all.
And they do have a, like you were saying before, so you can actually share your players and teams online with the community.
Cricket Academy.
It's so that's a great thing. Like you can, like you say, literally go online and download the team.
Yeah, you can download them anywhere. Well, you have to know where to look. Obviously, I'm on the Planet Cricket forums, and they've got all the, they know all the good creators there that make really good creations.
Shout out to Planet Cricket Forums.
Shout out Planet Cricket Forums. It's a great place. It's just, it's for some people I can see it as a half step. I mean, we see FIFA been iterating the same game since like FIFA 13, right? So
yeah,
I mean, it's something that's in the industry that a lot of people do, but I just. There was a lot of hype surrounding this game that everyone was saying that this is going to be the biggest game ever, blah, 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 blah. But, it's just... I mean, I can see how some people might see it as a little bit disappointing, because if you didn't know anything about cricket and or didn't know anything about cricket video games and you just dived into this one, the graphics don't look completely like a PS5 game, to be quite honest. But maybe I'm... I give it a lot of leeway because I know what cricket games were before. And maybe they could do something with the graphics. Really.
But to be honest, it's probably not. I'm probably not the best person to judge or talk about this game. You're probably better off listening to Sameet's views, because my favorite cricket game is still Super International Cricket from the Super Nintendo.
Oh man, we played that game to death. That was
I still play.
That was a game. How's that? I kept pressing that button for how's that. A button for appealing. That's all you. That's like the best.
Yes,
that's the best thing.
You just keep appealing after the thing. Oh god.
I remember once I appealed like 5 times, and then for some reason the umpire gave it out on the 5th time. Like, for some reason, after saying no, not out, and then give it out.
Or when you hit a boundary and the ball's going, and you see the graphic of a seagull getting hit with the ball.
Yeah, that was pretty graphic for the Super Nintendo, I gotta say.
I loved it. But yeah.
There was that, and then there was also, I mean, I played this game at Brian Lara Cricket, or Shane Warne Cricket, as it was here in Australia. Yeah. But Shane Warne Cricket 99, what a game. Like, that, to me, the presentation of that game still hasn't been matched. Like the way that it felt like a cricket broadcast when you were playing it. Jeffrey Boycott and Jonathan Agnew, I think. When they when they start up a game, it feels like a broadcast. Even the graphics, like old school back then in '99, it was like similar to what they have in the game. So, I mean, that's the thing. And like those are the memories we have. And I don't think cricket games have lived up to that yet.
Have cricket games become too much sort of vibe towards like becoming realistic and taking the fun aspect out of a game of cricket? Like, not like obviously a video game of cricket needs to be exciting, right?
Yeah.
And if you have a video game of a realistic game of cricket, that might not be as exciting as. Do you know what I mean?
You know what the problem I think with cricket games is that. The physics of it is so hard to nail. It is very hard. And Big Ant have been able to do this over a decade now, right? They started in, I think 2014 with Donald Bradman Cricket. Nearly a decade. So, and the games before that, like the physics of how a ball hits the pitch then comes, it's very hard to emulate in a game. I think that, because like, to me, like, you know, Brian Lara cricket was, the physics of it felt pretty good. The way the ball would come, and like, it wasn't completely 100% accurate, but felt real enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there is that sort of, yeah, should we make it more accessible? Sometimes I feel like the bowling in Cricket 24 is very convoluted. I have to press so many buttons, like, to just, you know, do a leg break, a full leg break. But like in, as you're saying, in Super International Cricket, I just press one button and it
one
knows
button to run up and one button to when you get to the crease.
Like that, maybe it needs to be that simple again, right? Because, I mean, in FIFA, you're not pressing 50 buttons to a long ball pass. You're pressing triangle, right? But like, that's the thing. Maybe it's a bit like, it's hard to get all the, you know, intricacies of bowling, like in cricket, but still keep it simple. It's a very tough task.
Yeah, so it's like they're overthinking it a little bit, I guess, because it is difficult.
Yeah.
Like another example of a fun game, which probably is far away from realism as possible, is stick cricket on mobile.
I still play that game.
Yeah, that is addictive and it's fun, right?
Yeah, it's Stick Cricket League. I still play that when I have free time. Like, you know, just sort of go through it, and like it's fun. It literally is 2 buttons.
Yeah.
And that's it. But yeah, I mean, whether they can get more simple, it's I guess an age-old sort of question for games, but hopefully they do get better.
Yeah, and one thing also with this game, it's got a lot of the local leagues as well, like Big Bash and like
the domestic leagues.
Yeah, and they've got some more IPL teams in there as well. I think there's only like a couple of teams that they need to sort of talk about licensing with. But
they're heading in the right direction. Yeah. Like, there's just some stuff that they need to work out with the visuals, and I guess some of the gameplay elements, but
hopefully in the future updates, they can sort of iron that out.
And they do update it regularly. That's another thing with the big answers. They definitely do update it, even though it might not be everyone's cup of tea. But I guess we'll move on, and we'll move on to I guess another revered section of this podcast, Classic Corner.
Yay, Classic Corner.
We love talking about the old classic Indian games that really shaped our, shaped us as fans, really, of Indian cricket. And I guess to me, one of the most, I guess for me, if not the most crucial match I've ever watched, would be India versus Australia, 2001, the Test series in India. And that was a time where, the first Test we were getting hammered, but then one man stood up, and I guess 2 men actually, really. VVS Laxman with his 281.
Yes.
Do you remember this?
Yes, that was a classic VVS Laxman innings. I'll just have a look here.
And we got bundled out, actually. So Australia batted first, and they made pretty imposing total of 445, which, was great. But this was also where Harbhajan Singh got a hat-trick, if you remember. And that was one of the the first ever hat-trick for an Indian. And the crowd, everything going on. It was so good. Such a great moment. But then Hayden proceeded to hammer the shit out of us after that with Steve Waugh there as well. But great moment during these first things for 445.
Yeah, and just look at this team. Like, gosh, this is like Australia at the top of their game. Yeah. Like Slater and Hayden opening. You got Langer first drop. You got the Steve Waugh and the Waugh brothers, Mark Waugh and Steve Waugh. Yeah. You got Ricky Ponting coming in down the order as well. Like,
it's a 6, what is it?
Yeah, and then you got Adam Gilchrist. Like, for God. And then you got the bowling attack of Shane Warne, Gillespie, McGrath, and Kasprowitz.
Wow.
Like, this is the top.
Let's actually quickly look at India's team as well. So this is, different opening. This is 2001, right?
Oh, I remember these guys.
Shiv Sundar Das.
Yes.
And Sadagopan Ramesh. Remember him?
Yes.
Like, all I remember about Sadagopan Ramesh was him just getting out of slip. That's it. That's my memories of him all the time. But then you got Rahul Dravid at 3. Sachin Tendulkar obviously was big at this time. Saurav Ganguly, our captain. I remember this. VVS Laxman here. And we've got Nayan Mongia, the keeper.
Nine Mongia.
This is before Dravid became keeper. Nine Mongia was one of our main keepers during this era. I guess from the 90s, right? He was our keeper for a while actually as well. And then look at this bowling attack, right? A very young Harbhajan Singh. He would have been 18 years old, I think, at this point.
Gosh.
A very young Harbhajan Singh. Zahir Khan, like young Zahir Khan as well. Venkatapathy Raju.
Venkatapathy Raju, yes, the Mr. Bean of Indian cricket.
He was a bit old at this point, I think, in his career. He did the end. Venkatesh Prasad. Oh, man. What a bowler, Venkatesh. But I wasn't that great of a fan of his. But he used to annoy the shit out of me. But Venkatesh Prasad. So we'll start off, I guess, with Australia's hitting. And, yeah, we said that, Harbhajan, got that hat-trick. And, we saw Slats and Hayden really start off this innings pretty well with a 100-run partnership. But, yeah, the hat-trick in the middle, and then Steve Waugh really taking this total to 445 with Matthew Hayden.
Yeah.
Imposing first
yeah. Harbhajan ended up with 7 wickets in that innings. So, the hat-trick, and then he had 4 other wickets apart from that as well. So.
And he was like, he was announcing himself with this match.
Yeah. And then, of course, with that bowling lineup of Australia, they literally ran through India's batting attack in the first innings.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Australia in this era, right? In 2001, their bowling was unplayable, right? Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne, Jason Gillespie. These are bowlers that you just like. They would always get wickets. I'd rarely ever see them get hammered, right? And to me, it was the mental game that their teams had, like because of how great they were and how accurately they bowled. Teams would get iced out mentally before they even get to the stadium.
Yeah, and you open with McGrath, Kasparitz, or Gillespie, and you think, okay, I'll play these guys out, to the next bowler. Who have you got coming in next? Shane Warne.
Yeah,
my gosh,
so it was a time. And look, our first innings here, it's pretty dismal. Yeah. Really,
the only real spark there was again VVS Laxman, who put up a fight with 59.
Yeah, and
that was pretty much it.
And that was pretty much it. But everyone else, we were watching this, and it was. I remember watching this and just like being very down.
Yeah, look, I think we were like 7 for 97 at one stage. We managed to get to 171 in the end. Yeah,
and that was because of Laxman. But 7 for 97. Looking at that, watching that, our dad had basically gave up at that point.
Yeah.
But we were I just for some reason wanted to keep watching.
Yeah.
And obviously we were asked to follow on. We got up for 171. We were obviously way below the follow on target.
Yeah, and it was McGrath, the destroyer, like 4 for 18 McGrath.
Oh, 14 overs.
Wow.
Like that's incredible.
That's insane.
Like that to me, that's an unplayable bowler, right? And that's how he was, Glenn McGrath, back in the day.
Yeah, and probably in cricket, I guess the most the worst decision ever made, I think, in the end, was asking India to follow on. Because what happened after that?
Okay, so basically everyone I know had given up on this game. Our parents, our uncles and aunties, everyone that was there had given up, stopped watching this match. But me and you were like, we're just going to ride this one out. Really. Yeah. Plus, we've got nothing else to do. We're kids. So, and we just kept on watching this. And what India did in the second innings was, I think, shaped my whole sort of life as a fan, as a cricket fan, as an Indian cricket fan. We were down and out. Had no business coming back into this match, but we did. And we did with that VVS Laxman and Rahul Dravid. Now, at one point, we were 3 for 115.
And that was the Sachin wicket, the third wicket that fell.
Yeah.
3 for 115 with Sachin Tendulkar getting out there.
And at that point, right, when we've been asked to follow on, we're way behind in runs. I'm guessing a lot of people left the stadium, right? Because Sachin's gone, why are we here? And then obviously Ganguly put up a little bit of a fight, but he got out. 4 for 232. It's respectable, but we're going to lose. That's what everyone thought. But two people did not think that, and that was VVS Laxman and Rahul Dravid.
The wall.
And I think this was day 4, or must have been day 3. Day 3, they batted the whole day and didn't get out.
That is incredible. Just think about that for a second. That is incredible.
300 runs, over 300 runs, and not get out in 90 overs of just complete crazy Kolkata heat. Which, I mean, I don't know how they did it, but to me, the way VVS Laxman played here, like the fight back that he initiated with Dravid, will be remembered forever, right? Especially with me, because I remember watching this and I just kept on watching. Like, I just kept on watching, and he just kept on pulling the ball. Like, bowlers that were unplayable a day ago are now getting smacked around the park, like Vaughan and McGrath, and like nothing. And it was incredible to witness. 281 of 450. That is a mega sort of effort.
Yeah. And Laxman ended up on 281.
Yeah.
And Dravid on 180. And India's total at the end of the day, or at the end of the innings, was 657. 657 for 7.
After making 171. Now, with that, you'd think, mate, like, maybe that's all that... I mean, I wouldn't be, 384 runs to get for Australia.
Yeah.
Right?
And just in that innings as well, like Australia had, not getting a wicket the whole day. Australia bowled almost the whole team.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having a look at the bowling card here. Like, they bowled 9 players.
Well, Matthew Hayden got a bowl.
Yeah.
Justin Langer got a bowl.
Yeah, Slater as well. Like, I reckon if Gilchrist could have bowled, if they had another keeper, Gilchrist would have had a bowl too.
But it was incredible. 4 of their bowlers got centuries. That was nuts, right?
Yeah.
And you think after that, like, there's only like a day left, or like less than a day, really, to get Australia out. Australia needs 384. Could be heading to a draw, is what I'm thinking, right? Is the logical sort of step, the next step, right, is that it heads to a draw. But then Harbhajan Singh again producing with 6 wickets that really changed the series and changed, everything to do with Indian cricket.
Yeah, and I remember watching this. It was actually Sachin's wickets as well, right at the end. Sachin initially got Matthew Hayden out LBW.
Yeah.
Sachin's figures at the end of the day were 3 for 31.
And there were 3 very crucial wickets, right? Because there were times where it looked like we were nearly there, but we weren't really going to get it. But then Sachin out of nowhere got wickets.
Yeah.
With his little leg spinners.
Yeah, and then Adam Gilchrist on a golden duck.
Oh, that was insane, because he got a duck in the first innings as well.
Yeah.
And to see him just go, and
we know how dangerous Gilchrist is.
Remember his expression? He was like, come on, not like, are you serious? After getting out to Harbhajan in controversial fashion in the first innings, he gets out LBW again. That was classic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But mate, this Australia all out 212 of 68 overs.
Yeah, and you can tell how much of a turning pitch it was, with all of the wickets were taken by spinners.
Yeah, Venkapathi Raju got 1 in there as well. So, this was amazing to us. Watching this is like the epitome of Test cricket, of what Test cricket is, what it means, what the whole definition of Test cricket is. Literally the fact that you're getting tested mentally and physically to really go through these 5 days and see who's the best.
Yeah, and they were bowled out for 212 at the end of the day, Australia.
Yeah, and to me, what this did for Indian cricket was massive. The effect, right? We went on to win this series pretty amazingly, and what people don't realize at the time, because everyone says, home advantage. Home advantage meant nothing to this Australian. They were killing teams all over the world. There were 16 wins in a row. like undefeated, and everyone was just wondering who's going to stop them. I think it was 16 tests, but it might have been 16 series in a row as well.
Gosh,
That's like crazy to think about. But that's the type of role that they were on.
And for India to then come through and
the thing is, this Indian team was like, wasn't all the greatest players that you'd see. Like, there was no Sehwag here at this point. There was like, not everyone was here.
Yeah, and
but this is how Laxman made his name.
Yeah, and their bowling attack for India doesn't look that strong if you look at it on paper, right? Yeah. But this test was really all about Laxman and Dravid, and how they destroyed that follow-on innings.
And like it really showed that we are a team that has so much fight in us, right? Our backs against the wall, and we produce something magical. And to me, it was magical because, like, this shaped a lot of Indian cricket fans. It definitely shaped me because it just showed that this Indian team is one that is just something different. Like, you wouldn't see this from, and like no one's ever won a test match after being asked to follow on at this point, right?
Yeah.
And to me, that signaled the start of a great era for Indian cricket.
Yeah.
And it really, the era of the Tendulkars and the Dravids and the Laxmans and the Sehwag, they all started here, I reckon. And the fight that we always showed Australia during this period, because Australia was very dominant, but whenever they played India, we brought it to them.
Yeah.
And like no other team did, except for maybe England and Ashes 05.
Yeah.
But it really did shape me as a fan, and it was one of the most important series of all time.
Yeah, and just to clarify as well, that decision to follow on at the time was a great decision by Australia because they had India on the ropes, right? And they were going to wrap this test up.
Everyone would follow.
Yeah.
Ask the team to follow.
Yeah, they would wrap this test up, right? Yeah. But they were not expecting 650 plus in the second innings.
No.
And that was amazing by the Indian cricket team.
Yeah, and like we're talking about Laxman, but man, Dravid, he was as good, and 180 from him. It just, it really showed what we're capable of, what India's capable of, the fight that we can give. Because before this, right, like India was seen as a team that, is really just like, you can like, you hurl insults at us and we'll just take it. But under Ganguly, right, they really got their fight. They're like, no, we're not going to take that anymore. Like, we're not going to take this dominance by Australia. Like, we're actually going to fight back.
Yeah. And prior to that, the dominance came from West Indies.
Yeah.
For a long time in world cricket, West Indies were the dominating force. And Australia stood up.
Yeah.
Australia fought back, and Australia became the dominating force in cricket. Like, there's periods in time in cricket where one team dominates.
And another one rises up.
And there has to be someone that fights against them. That's the greatest story, I think, in world cricket. So, I think it's definitely been defining for Indian cricket.
Yeah.
And they've been able to develop on from that after that.
Well, it was definitely defining. And we reached the end of the show of this episode, and it was a bit of a long episode today. But we've had a lot to talk about. But, I mean, obviously the World Cup game, it's going to be crucial for us, India, Australia, and we're just hoping for the best for that. So
and Cricket 24, get on it. We'll be online as well. You can play online too.
Well, you know what my username is. maybe not actually. But we'll see you in the next one. Check out. Peace.